Clay face jugs. Our project is inspired by Jim McDowell, an African-American potter. He has been making face jugs for over 35 years, in the tradition of his African-American and Caribbean ancestry. He uses broken china to make teeth to give them a scary or fierce look. Hello, it's Miss Christina and Mr. Brush. You might notice my hands are looking a little dirty. That's because in this bag is clay, which is made out of dirt. So today we are going to be making a clay project. This bag has wet, moist clay, and I have to keep it covered up or it will dry out and become what? Hard, right? So today I'm going to be using a wire tool to cut you a piece of clay. So a wire tool, kind of like, I guess you can think of it like a knife for clay. You can also do this with string when you're in a pinch, but it's really satisfying how it cuts. So I'll be giving you a bigger size piece of clay like this. So if you remember back to grade 1, we made a pinch pot. Okay, and it follows these 4 steps. You want to make your clay into a ball first. So I'm just using my hands to kind of shape it. And this does take muscle, so making art and making things out of clay is really good exercise for your hands. So it doesn't have to be a perfect ball. Okay, but that looks good enough. And today I'm working on a piece of canvas. That prevents my clay from sticking to the table. All right, what's the second step? I'm gonna use my thumb, my dirty thumb, to poke a hole in it. So I'm gonna go pretty far down. And I'm standing up so that I can be stronger when I press my thumb. You don't wanna just like press a finger in there, okay? You wanna hold it in your hand and kind of wiggle your finger and move the clay to get your thumb. Now, I don't wanna make a donut, so you kind of have to feel. I don't wanna poke a hole, do I? Okay, so that's the beginning of my pinch pot. And now I'm going to what? I'm gonna pinch it. I'm gonna pinch it and make it bigger and wider, and I'm gonna try to make it longer and taller. So when I'm doing this, I want to hold it and I want to pinch on the bottom. Pinch and turn, pinch and turn. Now this process, it takes a while, so think slow, okay? And repeating. So I'm pinching and turning. And you might remember I told you a story when you were little about the 5 fingers, okay? They're all brothers. Thumb, he was sick, so he had to stay inside of the house. And while he's inside of the house, his 4 crazy brothers, they're not sick, they get to run around the house. And I'm gonna keep pinching slowly and turning. And notice where my thumb is. My thumb is down on the bottom, and I'm pinching and kind of pulling up a little bit. I don't want to make my pot super wide like that one. We wanna go up higher, okay? So what's happening? It's turning into a bowl, isn't it? Now you can feel like this side is probably thicker than this side, so I wanna try to, even that out as I go. But be careful, when you pinch at the top, it starts to get bigger at the top, and we want this one to grow from the bottom. So I'm gonna keep pinching on the bottom and kind of pinch and pull up the clay. Do you see that? Pinch and pull up the clay. So this pinch pot is a little harder than the one that we learned how to do when you were younger. Your hands are stronger now. You have more patience. Okay, so I'm gonna speed up the video to finish making my pinch pot. Alrighty, my pinch pot has grown. Now we can do a few things to kind of put it how we want it. So I can gently just kind of drop it and tap it, and that helps create a really flat bottom so that it will sit straight up. Now you can play with the shape. It doesn't have to stay a circle. You could make an oval. You could do a square. I think I'm gonna do a square for mine. So there we go. Now I'll roll 2 balls for my 2 eyes. Could your face have 3 eyes? Yes, of course. You are the artist, so they can be, you know, a little scarier. They don't have to be scary at all, you know. You are the artist. But I do want you to try to make it original. So for this part, I think I'll sit down. So I've got my 2 eyes. Now over here, this says slip, okay? If I open that up, it is just a mixture of water and clay, okay? And this is gonna be like our clay glue, okay? It will help stick things. Okay, so I'm going to take my eye and I think I'm gonna make it flat. Oh. So I'm just pressing gently. Now I have a little pancake. And you can use some of these tools to press into it. So this would make, ooh, that would make a really cool one. A triangle with a little pupil. So I can press down like that. Ooh, I'm liking that. All right, we have to scratch or score to get our pottery to stick together. So I have to scratch the face jug where I want the eye to go. And I have to also scratch the back of the eye. That creates little grooves that will stick together. If you remember, we have some slip. I need to put slip on this part and this part. Now comes the 3rd step, which is to stick them. So I'm going to put the 2 sides that have been scratched and slipped and stick them together. So press firm, but make sure not to mess up your work. All right, you're ready for the 4th step. That is to smooth. You can use the wooden tools, the paintbrush, any tools, even your fingers to help smooth those edges and connect the pieces. Alrighty, for the nose, I'm just gonna take off a piece of clay and then I'm going to mold it. That means moving and shaping your fingers. So I'm gonna try to mold it into the shape of a triangle first. Kind of like how your nose is a triangle. And then I'll try to keep the back, maybe that will be the back flat, and then I can use my fingers to kind of mold it into the shape that I want. So the more you work with clay, the drier it gets. So we have to be mindful to keep our clay moist and soft. All right, that looks pretty good to me. I might make it a little tinier so I have more room for a mouth. There we go. And you can use any of these tools to press shapes and designs. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna leave that back flat. And do you remember the 4 things you do? So I'm gonna scratch. Remember, anytime you attach 2 pieces of clay, you have to follow the 4 steps. Scratch or score both sides. Next, you're going to add what? Slip. That's like your clay glue. Remember to add it to both sides, the pot, the jug, and the piece that you're attaching. Now I'm going to stick. Notice how I'm pressing firmly but gently and really making sure that it attaches. Now I'm doing what? Smoothing. You can use your fingers or tools or a paintbrush. For his mouth, I'm going to just roll a coil. A coil is a snake-like piece of clay. When you roll on your canvas, you might get a little bit of the texture from the canvas. So sometimes you can get away with rolling on your desk, and that's fine too. All right, and now I can play around with that coil. You could just have a straight mouth. We could shape it into a circle. And then he could be surprised. He could be happy. He could be sad. You can decide which way you want. I think I'll make him sad. Remember to scratch, slip, stick, and smooth. Remember, your jug is 3D. That means you can see it from all sides. So I'm going to use my tools to carve some designs, add some texture all around the shape of the pot. I cannot wait to see what you create. Remember, take your time, try your best, and have fun.